Hello, everyone. Welcome to a very special episode of Uncanny Treks as we continue our trek through the Jonathan Hickman run. We are on Time Runs Out Volume 3. That is Adjectiveless Avengers numbers 40, 41, and 42, and New Avengers number 29 and 30. I am Bob in Cascadia. This is Matt in the Southland. Matt, how you doing this evening?
Doing great, Bob. Is time not always running out for the Avengers?
That's a good question. In some sense, no, because they're like the Justice League. They're really overpowered. How often do they really have to break a sweat, I guess?
They always find some solution somehow, even though it seems they have the same issue over and over again. The Earth just wants to be destroyed. They just won't let it happen.
Well, what if I tell you in this one they lose, Matt?
Oh, they lose. Well, that's different, Bob. That's quite different.
All right, so we're starting with Avengers number 40. We Three Kings is the title of the issue. Stefano Caselli, who we've seen throughout the Hickman run, is the artist on this one. Matt, what goes down in We Three Kings?
What about Reed Richards devises a plan to trap the Cabal on an Earth during an incursion?
My favorite panel in this issue, Matt, was when we see Sam and Bobby, Cannonball and Sunspot. They're very hurt that Hank McCoy, the Beast, double-aged them, and they both, despite Hank, they agree that he looked better as a cat during the Grant Morrison run, which I thought was pretty funny.
It was pretty funny, and I have noticed Beast is different now.
I think this is just more a version of him like he was in the 90s.
Oh, okay. He's just more a Disneyfied Beast, in my opinion.
Oh, Matt doesn't like his pretty Beast.
No, I like the cat Beast. I really do. I agree with them. He did look better as a cat. I thought that was cool. It makes him different from Wolverine.
In fairness, I think Beast got there first.
That's true, but come on. The hair in the 90s, they all look the exact same. They literally palette swap Wolverine and Beast in video games. Just color and Wolverine blue.
Indeed, indeed. So, Matt, my guess at your favorite panel was when T'Challa and Black Bolt betray Namor. Was that about right?
Oh, yeah, Bob. That was the pivotal scene where last episode of this podcast, I wanted to talk about this so bad, but I couldn't because it was so cool the way that he betrays him and just it stabs him in the heart, kicks him off the side of the platform onto the world that's about to be destroyed. Of course, this does lead to issues later on because T'Challa decides to wait, give him a minute to die, or give him a minute to realize that we're the ones that kicked it. Of course, that then leads to later on where they are able to make their way away, make their escape.
Indeed, indeed. This is quite a nice moment because we ended Time Runs Out Volume 2, right? Wasn't that the unveiling of Sue Storm and the Illuminati have played Steve Rogers and the S.H.I.E.L.D. Avengers?
Correct.
Then we get a further instance of not only have they played Steve Rogers, but they played Namor.
That is correct.
So our cliffhanger for this issue was then a text that says, "So ends the Cabal," which that's a striking way to end the issue, especially after the Cabal was such a big deal for so long.
You have an interesting question, Bob, that you didn't bring up, but Black Bolt coming after Namor because he uses his scream or whatever to knock him off the platform. There may be a reason why Black Bolt's part of this, and it may have something to do with Maximus being part of the Cabal, but I'm not sure.
I don't remember what the background for this is because it does seem it's hard with Black Bolt, right? Because he's nonverbal. And so, certain things that can be expressed, like his love for Medusa, but other things are a little bit harder to express on the page. And I couldn't remember if back in Infinity, did Namor set the Black Order on Adelon or something? He might have, but I honestly just didn't go back and check. I couldn't remember if it was something like that this is paying off, or if it was just in general, is Black Bolt angry that Namor betrayed the Illuminati and joined up with the Cabal and has been destroying worlds? I'm not really sure what the Black Bolt Namor animosity origin is.
I'm not sure either. I'm thinking it has something to do with Maximus.
Interesting. So to keep moving to the next issue, New Avengers number 29, that's entitled 8 Months Ago. So we get a flashback, and Kev Walker, who we've also seen a little bit already from on Time Runs Out as the artist for this. Matt, what goes down in 8 months ago?
Well, Bob, Reed has discovered that the odds of surviving all the incursion events has increased, with only 22 universes remaining.
What was your favorite panel of this issue, Matt?
My favorite is on page 19 because they've tried different ways to try to fix the problem, and one of them was having Franklin Richards use his powers and hook up to the source wall.
To be clear,
Yeah,
the source wall is a DC thing. It's
yeah,
just the thing he's tied to just looks like. I don't think there's an equivalent to the source wall in Marvel. It just looks like it.
it does.
Kev Walker is going straight Jack Kirby with the art.
It looks awesome. It's a cool visual to see Franklin
And
tied down there and upset that he disappointed his dad.
this is also a nice payoff to something that was teased in the first two volumes of we know that Franklin and Reed had tried something. This is us seeing what that tried. My favorite moment was relevant to this too, and it's Reed telling Steve Rogers that while you were playing hero, we were playing God, which is on the one hand, it does seem like the Illuminati, are evil in this run, but this issue where we're seeing all the advanced ways that the Illuminati was trying to come up with another solution does maybe bend the reader and bend Hickman's sympathies maybe back towards the Illuminati and pretty far away from the crazy Shield Avengers.
Especially considering Captain America's stance, which is he has no solution other than just beating up the people who want to try to solve the problem.
And not even all the people, just Tony Stark.
Primarily Tony Stark.
Our cliffhanger for this issue is we get the return of Hank Pym, something that's also been dangling for all of time runs out. We know he joined the Illuminati, but he hasn't been around, and we see him returning, bringing back the Beyonders. Talked about the Beyonders a little already, Matt, but you haven't read the original Secret Wars?
No, I haven't.
I can't say that it's worth it. It's certainly an important comic, but in some ways, man, it's worse than Crisis on Infinite Earth in some ways.
This is the one that they made the action figures for, right?
It was the one where they came up with the action figures first, and they basically built the comic to justify, if I'm remembering my oral history of Marvel correctly.
That's what I'm talking about.
The name apparently was purely a product of focus groups among preteen boys, where it's, well, boys like things that are secret, and they like things with wars in the title. So what if we put them together?
Secret Wars. This is where Spider-Man got his costume, his black costume, right?
This is where Spider-Man got his black costume.
So I have that very basic knowledge of Secret Wars.
They did a few other things like that. Ben Grimm leaves the Fantastic Four after Secret Wars, if I remember correctly. Also, Colossus cheats on Kitty Pryde during Secret Wars. But
that's a no-no.
Definitely the Hickman Secret Wars that's coming is in some ways just a more sophisticated remake of the original. But I didn't really want to reread Secret Wars, and I didn't really think it was reasonable to ask you to read Secret Wars. So I think you'll enjoy the Hickman Secret Wars without the original, nor do I think it's very necessary.
Context is not necessary, really, because Hank Pym gives you a pretty good context about what's going on.
I don't think this rhetoric was used about the Beyonders in the original Secret Wars in the 80s, but all the rhetoric about them being Ivory Kings and Dark Kings, that's a Hickman thing to make them sound more fantasy or sound more outre sci-fi.
They sound very scary. They're magical and technologically savvy.
Yes, Matt, they've transcended the distinction. They're so advanced. They're so advanced. All right, so the next issue is Avengers number 41 over there. Mike Deodato, I always like to remember how he did the Azrael version of Wonder Woman in the 90s. Artemis always cracks me up. But what goes down in over there, drawn by Mike Deodato?
Well, Bob, the Cabal survives the first incursion by traveling to the second incursion site. So not only do we have the incursion going on with our Earth right now, but there's another incursion going on with that same world. And guess what?
2 incursions simultaneously, man.
That's right, Bob. And that other world, it's crazy, Bob.
My guess at your favorite panel was when it's revealed that the other Earth is the Ultimate Universe, and we know this because there's a splash page of Miles Morales swinging around.
I caught on to that quickly. I was, okay, this is the Ultimate Universe. That's why they're showing me Miles Morales. That was not my favorite panel, though. My favorite panel was what your favorite panel was, Bob, which should be everyone's favorite panel in this issue.
It's the reveal of another Ultimate character, Matt. This one being Ultimate Reed Richards, a.k.a. The Maker, and he's meeting the Cabal.
That's right, guys. You've got the Earth 619 Cabal.
616, Doug.
616. 619 is Rey Mysterio, my bad.
Yes. I believe that's the San Diego area code.
Correct, Bob. Good job.
Yeah.
You've got Ultimate Reed Richards from the Ultimate Universe, and they're meeting.
Indeed. And another comic that we could have read before this is Hickman's run on Ultimates a few years before this, which turns Ultimate Reed Richards evil. However, I don't think Hickman's run on the Ultimates is bad, but I don't think it's as good as his stuff in the 616, and I didn't feel the need for us to revisit it.
Based on the very few panels I have seen of Ultimate Reed Richards in this series, I felt when they were casting for that Fantastic Four movie in 2018, they went with that guy because of this version of Reed.
This is embarrassing. I've already forgotten who plays Reed Richards.
Uh,
It was Miles Teller in the 2018 one.
yeah, Miles Teller. They were going for this version of Reed, maybe. The way he's portrayed in these pages versus what you see on that in that film is just
Listeners, I'm about to do something very podcaster-like and spout off about something I literally have no idea about because I've never seen the 2018 Fantastic Four and I've never really read Ultimate Fantastic Four. But I do have the sense from the trailers of them playing up the Fantastic Four in that 2018 is more explorers. And yeah, the trailer always got really low-grade knockoff of Interstellar vibes. And that was something that Ultimate Fantastic Four did, was really pitch the Fantastic Four as very science fictional explorers because they needed them to stand out from the Ultimate Avengers, the Ultimates, and the Ultimate X-Men. Does that make sense?
right, yeah. Which is what that film was going for too. If I remember correctly, they go into the negative zone. They don't actually go into space or something.
The one bit of trivia I always remember about Ultimate Fantastic Four is the Marvel zombie world first appeared in Ultimate Fantastic. Maybe one day in the very, 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 very distant future, we should look at Ultimate Fantastic Four after we've finished every possible thing we want to do with 616 Fantastic Four. And listeners, just so you know, this whole excursion through Hickman Avengers is in part just an extension of our Fantastic Four coverage, mainly because Secret Wars turns into, in my opinion, more of a Fantastic Four comic than an Avengers comic.
It really does because Reed Richards just dominates everything. That's what it boils down to. Hickman wants Reed to always be the hero on top.
Another podcaster I've listened to talk about the Fantastic Four made this point. I think they're right that the fundamental shift of the Fantastic Four is that Johnny and Ben were the most important characters of the Fantastic Four before Mark Waid's run on Fantastic Four. And maybe in some late instances, Sue too. Definitely not in the Kirby and Lee stuff or the John Byrne stuff, but maybe later in some of the 90s, Tom DeFalco, Paul Ryan run, maybe you could say Sue's the most important member. But it really is, once Mark Waid writes, in some ways, what feels like the first contemporary Fantastic Four run, it's pretty much just put the focus all on Reed. And definitely Hickman continues that. To some extent, I think Fraction continues that. I haven't read much of the Ryan North run, but it seems like Ryan North continues that.
Well, Bob, New Avengers number 30, Beyonders.
What goes down in New Avengers number 30, Beyonders, with art by Dalibor Talajek. And actually, before you tell me what goes down, this is relevant to your interest. Did you know that Marvel and the Dexter novelist did a Dexter comic in 2013?
No, I did not know. Yeah, I did not know Jeff Lindsay did that. I'm gonna have to look that up. I love Dexter.
Our artist for this issue, Talajek, who's Croatian, was the artist on that 2013 Dexter comic. What goes down?
I looked at the cover of it, and it's interesting because I guess they couldn't get the rights, so the characters don't look like Michael C. Hall. It definitely does not look like Dexter, the Dexter you're used to seeing.
Do you think they're aiming to be something closer to the novel than closer to the show, maybe?
I'd have to read it because honestly, the novels are way different. The first novel's the same as the show, but everything after that is different.
No worries if you don't know, but how many Dexter novels are there off the top of your head?
I want to say I read 4.
Or, okay, you think there might be a couple more? You think it's just 4?
There's probably more since then.
One other, since we're just on trivia, TV and adaptations, did I tell you to watch a Dope Thief if you ever get Apple Plus?
No.
I would say don't get Apple Plus. It's a really bad server, and they don't have a lot of good stuff. Apple subsidizes a lot of stuff, but it's just not good, mostly. Although I am looking forward to Vince Gilligan and Rhea Seehorn, Kim from Better Call Saul, have a new science fiction show called Pluribus that I'm hearing rave reviews from friends. So I'm looking forward to watching that. Maybe I'll be so blown away by that, I'll be, oh, you have to get Apple Plus. But in the meantime, while my boy and I wait for episodes of that to build up, we're watching other things on Apple Plus. And none of it's been that good, except for Dope Thief, starring Brian Tyree Henry and Wagner Moura. It's very good. But it was just weird because at first, Matt, I thought it was a true story. That I thought it was a true crime story. And then we got to a point where there's a massive gang war, and I was, oh, this is not real. This is from a novel. Okay,
Yeah.
I just misunderstood and thought it was based on a true story. And I was curious enough that I got the novel from the library and I skimmed it. And it's just utterly mystifying to me to imagine somebody reads that novel and then they're, oh, yeah, let's make this into an 8-episode miniseries. I didn't even think it was a bad decision, but it was just, why would you not read this and think, oh, yeah, this should be a movie?
I don't know how a lot of stuff honestly gets made, Bob.
I usually think most miniseries should be movies, but I actually, after watching Dope Thief, I don't think it should be a movie. It works as a miniseries, although my boy and my criticism of it is it's too long. It was
Yeah.
8 episodes and it should have been 6 probably, but it was an episodic show. They did a good job of giving a couple of the episodes separate identities. And it also had characters worth exploring at length that they explored. So I'm not sad they made it into a miniseries, but it was just interesting to read the novel, which, like with the Dexter books, the first half is similar to the miniseries, and
Oh.
the second half is not at all similar. And it's interesting to think about the thought process of a screenwriter or a producer who read this and was like, oh, yeah, this would make a great miniseries, but we just have to totally change the back half. It's just an interesting thought process.
The other thing too with Apple, they're real bad about putting out one decent show that everybody wants to watch, and then nothing has absolutely nothing else. And then you're stuck with their stupid service. That's their trick. They want me to pay for it and forget about it, and then keep
Yeah,
that.
that's the trick of all of it. Unlike the other streamers, they don't seem to have any back catalog.
They have nothing. When Severance dropped, it was like, oh, okay, everybody likes Severance. Let's go watch it. And it was a good show. It was a great show. I enjoyed it. But then, oh, there's nothing else on this service.
You think I would like Severance?
You might. You might. It's a little trippy.
I've gotten bad vibes from people talking about it. It's like Succession. I don't necessarily think it's bad, but I'm just not particularly interested in seeing.
If you've ever disassociated your work life from your personal life, that's what it touches on. You can really watch 1 or 2 episodes and see if you'll like it. It's not anything you have to stick around for forever.
I have, Matt, but I don't know that I've ever really done that kind of white collar job, which I wonder if that's the difference.
That's the difference. You feel it yourself to some degree. You're a completely different person. That's what severance is. You can have this personal life, and you can have this work life, and they're severed. They're not the same.
Interesting. Well, Matt, that was a really long lead up for me to ask again what goes down in New Avengers number 30, Beyonders.
Well, Bob, all that information I gave you is the equivalent of what this issue was to me as well, because it's Hank Pym and Captain Britain explaining how the Beyonders are committing universal genocide by destroying Celestials and the Living Tribunal.
It's getting really cosmic. It's getting maybe a little too cosmic for Matt.
The Beyonders go around, they destroy everything. They're able to kill Celestials, they're able to kill gods, which I guess is what we're going to see is coming up soon. Then in a minute, they're going to throw in a whole different problem that the Avengers have to face. My favorite panel in this issue, Bob, is when one of the Beyonders is doing this spinning fire blade thing against Celestials. He's going God of War on them.
On the cliffhanger, we have the Living Tribunal's corpse here. Then we have this indescribable battles of ex-Nihili, Beyonders, Celestials, and other beings, and Hank Pym saying it all. It's quite something. So Avengers 42, Matt, it all comes crashing down. Stefano Caselli's back on art. What goes down?
Well, Bob, believing that Earth is the sole reason that the incursion events are taking place, the United Empire readies their fleet to destroy the planet.
My favorite panel, Matt, and I thought this was a cool anticipation of Hickman's eventual X-Men run, is we have Scott Summers looking at a Phoenix egg, and he's telling Bobby DaCosta and Sam Guthrie that the name of the game is Resurrection. Oh, that was a great moment.
Look at a little foreshadowing there.
Matt, my guess at your favorite panel was we have Reed and T'Challa watching Valeria eat chocolate ice cream. Was that correct?
No, Bob, it was not, even though that was a good panel, because anytime we see Valeria, and anytime Valeria is so smart, I love this kid.
She knows that chocolate ice cream is the best flavor, Matt. She shows she's a genius.
My actual favorite panel was at the end, where we have Rocket Raccoon in a silhouette.
And he's calling the Avengers idiots.
Yes.
As the United Empire's fleet approaches to destroy Earth. That was the cliffhanger that closes out Time Runs Out Volume 3. In 2015, when Rocket Raccoon is the biggest thing in the world, Matt, this is the highest Rocket Raccoon would ever be, it turns out.
The highest he would ever fly.
All right, listeners, we have only 3 more episodes of Hickman Avengers. We've got to do the final volume of Time Runs Out. Then we got to do Secret Wars. And then we have to do the recent Alien versus Avengers crossover, which is obviously not a part of the formal run, but it's interesting to look at that came out just last year. So join us for those last 3 episodes, listeners. Thank you for sticking with us through this insane, insane long journey. Did it wind up being what, Matt? I think 18 episodes of the spinoffs.
It's good comics, though, guys. It's really good comics.
It's hard to hold it all in your head. It is difficult, but we will try to do that for you, listeners, as we move to Time Runs Out Volume 4. I'm Bob in Cascadia. That's Matt in the Southland. Have a great night, everyone.
Thanks for listening.